Hello, this is John with Anthem Business Solutions, and today we're going to do KDS training on Heartland Restaurant. So first thing I'm going to show you on the kitchen display here is the icon to use, because maybe you might at some point have to force close the app or reboot your iPad, and you need to know how to get the kitchen display back up. So it's actually this dark gray icon here, whoops, with the spoon and fork. It's actually the same application that we use for the workstations for the point of sale. Except for when we provision these iPads, we tell it when you press this app button, it's either a workstation or it's a KDS. So you should just be able to hit this and it should come up. The light gray one is not the one you're looking for. That's for the kiosk. Okay, now let's go over the ticket view here. So the main items show up in dark black by default. The modifiers here show up as black and as black by default as well. However, there is a way that you can edit the colors of both of these. So I go on ahead and make the modifiers a different color. I think it pops. It also, I think over time, as you're using the kitchen display, it'll help you when you look at the display. You'll just kind of see red. Okay, red's donuts, blue's drink, green is ice cream, etc., etc. So I think it will help with that in the long run. Okay, when you're done making the order and you're ready to quote-unquote bump the order off, that would be the remove button up here. So we'll press that in a second so I can show you what that looks like. But let's finish going over some of this. So dine in up here, and where it says online orders up here, this is the room that the ticket was rang up for. And then this one is the staff member that rang up the order. And then this is a timer for how long the order's been on the kitchen display. And then down here at the bottom we have X2 and X3 and X4. This means that this is the second ticket of the day and the third ticket of the day and the fourth ticket of the day, etc., etc. And then we have the name next to that. This is the name of the customer. And then we have paid status. So I left one unpaid, so you see it shows paid and unpaid. And then the other number here to the right of the ticket it's indicating that there's 4 tickets that are currently open on the KDS, and this is ticket number 2 of 4, and ticket 1 of 4, and 3 of 4, and etc. Now, if you want to see all your tickets, you got to drag your finger across the screen and drag it from right to left. And that'll show you all your tickets on the screen. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the remove button on one of these. Now when I hit the remove button, there's a feature that I have on this. It's optional. You can turn it off. I'll show you where to turn it off later if you don't like it. But if you notice up here in this little message box, it puts a number. So if we press on that, it shows that an order has been removed or marked as complete on the kitchen display. So this basically lets your whole staff know that there's an order that's ready to go to the customer. So it will show this number on all the iPads, and then assuming you have a designated runner to take the food to the customer, once that's complete, they can come back and hit the minus sign and then hit delete to remove it. And this just keeps your staff on all one page, so you know that an order's ready and you know when the order's been taken to the customer. Now, if I need to recall the last order or recall a ticket that I've already marked as complete, what you do, you won't be able to see my finger here, but I'm going to put my finger just over here on the left, and I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to drag it to the right. And you'll see there it shows pull to view completed tickets. So I'm going to continue to pull over. And then once I see the release to view completed tickets there on the left, I let go of my finger and I can see all my closed tickets that I can restore. So I'm just going to restore this last ticket that we did here. Now to get back to my open tickets, I do the same thing. I drag my finger from left to right and let go. And now I've got my open ticket back on here. So now I'm going to show you the settings for the kitchen display. There's this little red hamburger looking thing with 3 red lines. You press on that, and we're going to see we can rename the KDS if we wanted to. We can set the language. The other settings are Spanish and French. And then we have some KDS options here. And our first option is to show all day. I'm going to go and turn that on. And what that does is it shows us a consolidated view of everything on the KDS. So instead of having to drag over to the right and count everything manually, instead you can look at the all day and see, oh, I need to drop a couple hundred donuts here, and I've got 3 lattes and 2 ice brew, cold brews. So that's what the all day does. Just gives you an opportunity to see a little more in the future, and I think the consolidation is helpful too. Now these next 3 here, you have to use, well, you don't have to use them, but I recommend using them in conjunction with each other. So the bump individual items allows you to just, as it sounds, bump individual items. You can use it as like a checklist. Say, okay, I got that done, but I still need to do this one, and I still need to do this one. The other ones here, broadcast bumps, what that's going to do is anytime you use the individual bump, it's going to broadcast that to any other kitchen displays that are receiving that broadcast. Now, enable for those other kitchen displays to receive them, you have to turn on the show remote bumps. Otherwise, it won't receive the broadcast bump. So that's why you use all 3 of them in conjunction. Now, when you select the broadcast bumps, you get to choose a color. So, for example, I just use green. You won't be able to see it, but if you individually bump an item on the other kitchen displays, if they're set to receive the broadcast, then it'll add that colored bar right at the item name to let you know that it's been individually bumped off of another kitchen display. Okay, and then we have display formats, and what that allows us to do is just we can filter the items by display format. Now I have this as all orders right now, which all orders I have programmed to be donut orders, ice cream orders, and drink orders all in one. So you could say it's used as for an expediter purpose. But if I just wanted this kitchen display to be just for donut orders, then I would just highlight donuts. If I wanted it to be ice cream, then I'd click ice cream. And if you notice here, everything's at default black, and that's because that is controlled at the display format level on the admin portal, which again I'll show you here in a little bit. So I'm going to go back to all orders for now, and the next filter is the room filter. So if I just wanted to see online orders, then I would unselect dine-in, and it would just show me the online orders. So if you have multiple rooms, you want to make sure all your rooms are highlighted here, otherwise stuff isn't going to show up. Okay, now we have the number of rows. This is the basically the ticket view or the ticket layout. So let's go to one row. One row is basically going to give you 3 columns per screen, and it's going to fill up, the ticket's going to fill up the whole column. So there's a lot of space here that isn't being used because it's taking up the whole column. So obviously if you want to see ticket 4 and 5 and 6, etc., you gotta scroll over for those. 2 rows is going to give you 3 on top and 3 on bottom, so it's going to give you a total of 6. You got to keep in mind with this view though is that if the ticket's long, you got to use your finger to scroll down, so it's a lot of touching the display when you're using this one. And then the scale to fit scroll prep tickets is a lot like row 1, except for instead of having all the white space here, it cut the ticket off where it needs to. This one is probably the one I prefer the most, is the wrap prep tickets, because this is going to utilize the most out of your screen. So you've got the one ticket over here, bleeds over into the next column, and so you've got the completion of the first ticket here. And then they squeeze the second ticket there, third ticket, etc., etc. So it just fits more onto the screen for you. Then we have filter, well, it has text size. So 50% is the smallest you can go on the text, and 200 is going to be the largest you can go on the text. I don't know anybody that's using that big a text, but it is an option there. I prefer having it at 50%, but it all depends on where you have to place your kitchen display, because you definitely want your staff members to be able to see it. And then we have held order lead time. So if you are using held orders, you can increment the lead time here with those. Oh, I forgot to show you future orders up here. So there was a show future orders option here that I skipped. This just allows you to make your settings for seeing future orders, because you can do future orders obviously online, but you can also do it from the terminal as well. Okay, and then we've got alert sounds for all three of these. You can have alerts for new tickets, so when a new ticket pops up on the screen, it makes a noise. You can also do one anytime a removed ticket is performed. And then you can have, if you're using the hold feature, you can have it for expired holds. So basically when you click one of those, it just gives you an option to choose one of the different sounds. Okay, and then we have a print on remove option here. So if you have a printer, a kitchen printer that is used as an expedite printer, then as soon as you bump an order or remove an order off the KDS, it'll print to that printer so that your staff can take that along with the food out to the customer. This is especially useful if you're doing table service, because then your staff members know what seat got what food. Okay, and then there's an option for clear, which is order time. It just switches back and forth between order time and paid time. And then you have the option to remove all tickets if you wanted to remove everything at once. Okay, and that is all on the iPad. Now I'm going to switch over to the admin portal. Okay, so now on the admin portal, which is hrpos.heartland.us, you need to log into there. And then at the top left, you'll see you have a menu here. Looks like a hamburger. Select that and you choose location setup right here. And then you're going to have to scroll down here on your left menu and go to display formats. Now once we're in display formats, you'll see all the display formats that we had. You saw this in the list on the right of the KDS. We're going to go into all orders, which is the one we were using the most. And there's three settings I want to show you in here. Most of this has to do with all the kitchen printing. There are a few settings that are just for the KDS. First one is order up alerts. This is that feature at the top where whenever you remove an order, it puts a digit up in that message box. So you do have the option to put that as none, or you can have it as notify staff in the app, which is what I showed you. And then if you're using the SMS services, you can have it message guests that it's ready as well. And then another setting to show you is on the fly KDS. So this one by default is disabled, but you have options for real time and delayed. So when it's at its default, which is disabled, the order doesn't go to the kitchen display until the order is either paid for or someone hits the send button at the top left. Then it's sent to the kitchen display. If you do real time, then it's going to send the order as soon as the staff member selects the first item. If you do delayed, it's not going to send it at the first item, but it's going to wait until the second item is pressed before it sends the first item. So this was really helpful. I used it a lot when I was doing quick service because this helped us stay on top of orders a little faster. In fact, it made for a nice little game that as soon as the item hit the screen, we started making it, and the goal was to get done with the order and have it waiting for the customer to grab as soon as they're done paying for it. So these were helpful. The only downside with doing this route is, for example, if your customer says, I would like this item, and then I would like this item, and then I would like this item. Oh, you know what? Hold on. That first item I told you, take that off. I don't want that now. Well, if you were staying on top of it and you were already making that first item, now you have some possible waste. And then the last feature to show you here is here in kitchen groups. So we've got kitchen groups. Sometimes it's just one kitchen group in here, or sometimes there's multiple. I've got three. I've got one for donuts here. I've got one for drinks, and one for ice cream. So there's a spot here for KDS primary color and KDS secondary color. So this is where you customize the colors for the main item and for the modifiers. And that is all I needed to show you. Thanks for watching. Want to stay up to date on the latest tips and tricks? Don't forget to click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon.